Welcome to the Book Party Podcast.
Join us as we journey into the world of books with Michael T.
Prepare to be captivated by engaging interviews, insightful discussions, and fascinating stories. You'll discover new adventures and gain insight into the creative process of the authors themselves as they share their struggles and accomplishments. Now let's hear from Michael T.
Good morning. This is Michael T. And to all our listeners, I would invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, scroll down to the icon of your choice where you can find us on one of your favorite platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Podcasts, or Odyssey. You can download and follow us there. Please don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and get the latest information for our upcoming shows. Today, I would like to introduce you to our guest, Urmi Hossain, and her book, Discovering Your Identity, A Rebirth from Interracial Struggle. Urmi Hossain is Bengali by blood and Italian by birth. She works in the financial services industry in Canada, where she is currently residing. She is a self-published author, speaker, blogger, polyglot, and mentor. She's the holder of the CFA Charter, one of the highest designations in the financial industry. Her first book is Discovering Your Identity, A Rebirth of Interracial Struggle. She advocates women's empowerment and is very passionate about teaching and mentoring other girls and women. She is part of an organization called Women in Leadership for the Victoria chapter in Canada, as a social media lead where she spreads the message of gender equality and more women in leadership positions. She enjoys being a promoter of self-investing and personal development. In her free time, she enjoys reading books and practicing Muay Thai. Urmi, why don't you take it from here, fill in some of the blanks, and tell our readers about yourself?
Yes, you pretty much said it all. I work in the financial sector and I am a self-published author. I wrote my first book last year, and it was my opportunity to tell the world my story, and it was my first time embarking on a writing journey. I am also a blogger. I write on a bi-weekly basis article about different things such as public speaking, travel. I write about career, and I am part of the Toastmasters Club. I'm the VP of Education of Toastmaster, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to improve your public speaking and leadership skills, and I've been part of this organization for 4 years. And I'm also a YouTuber. I have a YouTube channel where I have the chance of interviewing people about career, people who are language coaches, because I am I have a big passion for learning languages. I do speak 4.5 languages, and I do get to invite people from from coaches who teach different languages, and I have interviews also about public speaking.
Great. Now, in your self-publishing journey, do you do everything with your books, or do you collaborate some of the things out? And by that, I mean some of the editing or formatting or cover design, or do you do all of this yourself?
So I didn't, so for my first book, I did everything pretty much on my own. It was just me on my own creating everything. I created the book. I did the editing. However, I did need some help when it came to formatting, because that was something that I had to ask a freelancer to help me out, because I wasn't quite sure with the whole logistic. So for that, I did ask for help. But for the rest, for the title, cover page, the book itself, it was just my own creation.
Yeah, I can't do formatting on my books. I have to get help on that, and of course on the cover,
Yeah.
I do a drastic job on that one. I have to get some help for that one. So when you were writing your book, take us to a point what you would consider as your worst author moment in that book.
So I think for me, I think the worst part is when you come towards the end. It's when you are done with the draft and then you have to go back and reread the draft to make sure that there are no mistakes, to figure out how you want to like separate the chapters to with the whole editing. I think that's probably the worst part that was for me because I had the draft, I had the meat of my book, but when it came to like format it, I was like, I don't know how to do this. This is too much work. And then I had to reread the draft, I don't know, a couple of times. That's probably was the worst part for me, I would say.
Okay. Well, on another side, what we call an epiphany moment or an aha moment, take us to a point that was like the incredible light bulb went off in the head moment. Doing something besides writing. You could have been doing anything, driving or cooking or uh, some other activity. All of a sudden, this bright light bulb goes off in your head about the book, and you just had to get a pen and paper and write it down right now so it doesn't fade. Take us to a moment like that.
Basically, it was just I would say there was a moment that lead up to it because I was having conversation with a friend of mine who also self-published author, and I had a conversation with him that I was like, oh, I wanna you know I want to write I would like to write a book, but I'm not sure how to do it. And I think it was after having that conversation, after hearing his story of like how he managed to self-publish his own book, that I was like, I can do that too. If everyone can do it, why can I not do it? And I think seeing him being able to self-publish his own book just gave me that, I would say, encouragement to do it on my own.
Okay. So let's go to today. What is the one thing that you're the most fired up about or most excited about right now, today?
Funny thing that you're asking me that is, I was speaking to someone who bought my book really recently, and he's probably the third person telling me the same thing. And he told me that he would like me to continue writing and to have a continuation of my book. So that is something that is motivating me to go forward and write the second one. And I always had in mind to write the second one. So the fact that I have this positive feedback from people, it just shows that my work is not there for nothing. It actually has value and people are interested to read more about it. So because of that, I feel like I have this like push that it's like, okay, I think I can go ahead and write the second one. So it makes me really happy.
Well, that's great. This is Michael T. Thank you for being with us this morning. We invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, hit that subscribe tab on top, scroll down to the icon of your choice, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey. You can find us on one of your favorite platforms. You can download and follow us there, and please leave a review. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter and get the latest information on our upcoming shows. Now, Urmi, we are entering the lightning round, and in the lightning round, we are asking 4 pointed questions for 4 pointed answers. So, before you started writing as an author, what actually was holding you back from becoming an author?
There were two things. One of them was the judgment of people. I was just more concerned about how people around me, especially close people, would have felt about me talking about myself in a book. That was something that held me back. And the second one was probably the fact that I was probably not going to commit myself to do it, but I did manage to do it because I did write it in 30 days. So
What was the best advice in your writing while you were writing the book? What was the best advice you had ever received?
I think the best advice is when I was given the suggestion to read the book on how to write a book. So basically, I was given, it was actually with this friend that I was talking to. He was like, okay, if you do want to write a book, I'm going to give you the title of a book, which is called How to Write a Book in 30 Days. And so while I was on vacation, I was actually reading the book. And that was probably the best advice because it gave me a little bit of ideas on like how to go and tackle this whole process of writing the book. So I would say that was probably the best advice because it just gave me a bit more of a guideline on like how to go with it.
Okay. Share one of your personal habits that contributes to your success.
Gosh, personal habits. Okay, hold on. I just have so many. That's the problem. I have so many that I can share that I actually have. I would probably say the first one, or the one that I do like a lot, is that I always like to challenge myself. I like to challenge in a way that I just do everything that it's uncomfortable, and I like to explore different things. So untapping the fact of being a writer was something that was a challenge for me because I wasn't sure if I was going to make it. But it was also something that I wanted to explore and see if I had this talent within me that I had to yet discover. So I feel like I always like to challenge myself because everything that I do just brings me a lot of personal and professional growth.
Share with us and our listeners an internet resource that you could use when you write.
Okay. I an internet resource that I use when I like to write is Grammarly, which is basically like an app, or it's an app or website that you can subscribe to or buy the membership. And I use the free version, and basically just helps you with like spelling and sentence structure, especially when you're writing articles. I like to use it. It does a little bit of like check spelling, or it just makes sure that the sentence is like coincides and accurate. So I like to use that when I'm writing. That's one thing that I would suggest everyone to install on their computer.
I use Grammarly all the time. It's stuck in my computer. It
Yeah,
works on my emails and
yeah,
everything,
it's great. It's great. I love it.
I actually have a higher level subscription to it, but I use Grammarly all the time. So now, Urmi, we're now going to enter into the grand finale. So maybe you can tell our listeners a way that they can get in touch with you, follow you, and find your book, and then take your time and just tell our listeners about your book.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you what my book is about. So as you mentioned earlier in the opening, my book, it's called Discover Your Identity: A Rebirth from Interracial Struggle. And basically in this book, it's sort of like a memoir. What I talk about myself, and I talk about from the perspective of a third culture kid. I am a third culture kid. I was born and raised in Italy, and my parents are from Bangladesh. And I struggled a lot when I was a kid, when I was growing up, because I never felt like I was Italian enough. I also did not feel like I was Bengali enough. So I always felt like I was in between two worlds, but I was not feeling any of the two worlds. So I had to create my own world, which is a combination of the two. And this is when I finally come to embrace both of my cultures. And that's why I like to tell the world that I am Italian, Bengali, and I would say, the result of being a third culture kid. So this is what the book is about, and I know this is something that a lot of people can relate to because there are so many third culture kids out there in the world who struggle with their cultural identity. The book is available on Amazon. They can buy the Kindle version, they can buy the paper version, and so the book is there. It's very cheap. It's available worldwide. And if anyone wants to connect with me, I am available on LinkedIn. It's Urmi Hossain. I also have an Instagram account which is called Urma Mio. I have my YouTube channel called Urmi Hossain, and I also have a blog which is called myways.ca.
Again, this is Michael T., and I thank you for being with us this morning. To all our listeners, I would invite you to go to bookpartypodcast.com, hit that subscribe tab on top, scroll down to the icon of your choice where you can find us on one of your favorite platforms, such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, or Odyssey. You can download and follow us there. Please leave a review. Don't forget to sign up for one of our newsletters and get the information on our upcoming shows. Book Party Podcast is owned and powered by MTM Legacy Publishing LLC. This is Michael T. signing off.
You must not miss our next episode as we delve into a world of inspiration, entertainment, and thought-provoking insights. Join Michael T. on the next Book Party Podcast and experience a new adventure, a new story, and a complete immersion into the world of Pages Unveiled, Chronicles of the Writing Journey.